If you've been telling yourself you're stuck because you're lazy, unmotivated, or broken, I want to ask you something uncomfortable. What if the real reason you feel stuck is because your mind is trying to protect you, not from danger, from disappointment, from looking at your life and realizing you might have been wrong about who you'd become? Imagine this. It's late. You're on your phone, scrolling, not even enjoying it. You tell yourself you'll get up and do something meaningful in 5 minutes. 5 turns into 30, 30 turns into tomorrow, and tomorrow has been turning into months. You're not relaxing, you're hiding from emails you haven't replied to, from dreams you quietly lowered, from that nagging sense that time is moving and you're not. And the worst part? You don't even know what you're stuck on. It's not one big thing. It's a fog, a heaviness, a feeling like your life is paused while everyone else is pressing play. You keep hearing advice like, just be disciplined. Just try harder. You need more willpower. But here's the first pattern interrupt. Laziness is rarely the problem. Stuckness is not a character flaw. It's a nervous system state. Most people who feel stuck are not unmotivated. They're overwhelmed, ashamed, and quietly exhausted from trying to be someone they're not sure they can become. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Mark. Mark was in his late 30s, smart, capable, kind. On paper, he was fine. Job, apartment, friends. But inside, he felt like he'd missed the exit to his own life. Every night, he told himself, tomorrow I'll start. Start what? He didn't even know anymore. He just knew he felt behind, so he numbed himself. Work, screens, distractions, anything that made time pass faster. One night, he confessed something that hit me hard. I think I've been pretending to be busy so I don't have to find out if I'm actually capable of more. That's when it clicked. People don't get stuck because they don't care. They get stuck because they care too much. They're afraid that if they really try, they might fail, or worse, they might succeed and realize it doesn't feel the way they hoped. Here's the second pattern, interrupt. Feeling stuck is not about lack of effort. It's about fear of truth. Truth about what you want. Truth about what you've avoided. Truth about what you've outgrown. So your mind does something clever. It creates fog. It blurs your priorities. It drains your energy. It whispers, later, not now. You're tired. Not because you're weak, but because clarity is scary. When you're clear, you can't hide. Let's talk about the real reasons you feel stuck, not the motivational poster reasons, the human ones. First, you're carrying expectations that aren't yours. Somewhere along the way, you absorbed rules about what a good life looks like. By this age, you should have this. By now, you should feel that. So you chase goals you didn't choose, and every time you move toward them, something in you resists. Not because you're lazy, because your soul knows it's the wrong direction. You feel tired because you're living someone else's version of success. Second, you've made your identity too small. You think you are your past decisions, your mistakes, your current circumstances. So when you imagine change, it feels fake, unrealistic, like pretending. You tell yourself, that's not me. But the truth is, the version of you who feels stuck is not the real you. It's a snapshot, not the whole story. Third, you're afraid of choosing. Staying stuck feels safer than choosing wrong, because once you choose, you risk regret. And regret is heavy. I know this personally. There was a year of my life I don't like thinking about. I had an opportunity to move, start something new, take a risk, and I didn't. I told myself it wasn't the right time, that I needed more stability. What I really meant was, I was scared. Scared I'd fail. Scared I'd look stupid. Scared I'd disappoint people. So I stayed, and months later, I realized something worse than failing had happened. I had abandoned myself. That regret didn't scream. It whispered. Every time I saw someone doing what I wanted to do, I felt it. Not jealousy. Grief. Grief for the version of me I didn't let exist. That's the quiet tragedy of being stuck. You don't lose loudly, you lose slowly. Here's another truth that might sting. You are not stuck because you don't know what to do. You're stuck because you know, and you're avoiding the feeling that comes with doing it. The vulnerability, the uncertainty, the discomfort of being new at something. So you wait for confidence, but confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. And here's the cruel loop. You wait to feel ready. You never feel ready. You call yourself lazy. Your self-trust erodes. You feel even less capable. And the loop tightens. Let's pause for a moment. If your best friend came to you and said, "I feel stuck. I think I'm lazy and broken," would you agree? Or would you see what they can't? Their effort, their pain, their unspoken hope. Why is it so easy to be kind to others and so cruel to yourself? Now, I want to talk directly to you, not the version of you that performs, not the version that scrolls, not the version that jokes about being tired, the quiet one, the one that thinks, "Is this really it?" That voice isn't complaining, it's calling you. Here's the internal dialogue most stuck people live with. I should be further by now. I messed up too many times. I don't have what it takes. I'll start when I feel more confident. And here's the truth. You are not behind. You're becoming. Your past does not disqualify you. It trained you. You don't need confidence. You need permission. And no one is coming to give it to you. You have to. Let me tell you another story. This one has a turning point. There was a woman I knew who spent 10 years in a job she hated. Every Sunday night she felt sick, not metaphorically, physically. She kept saying, "I'm stuck." One day, she realized something. She wasn't stuck. She was loyal to a version of herself that no longer existed, to a promise she made when she was younger, more afraid, more desperate for approval. The day she finally admitted, "This life doesn't fit me anymore." Everything changed, not overnight, not magically, but she stopped lying to herself. And that was the beginning. That's what most people miss. The real shift isn't external, it's internal honesty. Now, I'm not going to give you a generic list of steps, but I am going to gently place some actions into this conversation, because insight without movement becomes another way to hide. Here's the first thing you can do today. Write one brutally honest sentence about what you're avoiding. Not a paragraph. One sentence. "I'm avoiding," and finish it. Then close the notebook. Second, set a 10-minute timer and start the thing you've been waiting to feel ready for. Not perfectly, not impressively, just badly. Bad starts are how real starts happen. Third, move your body for 5 minutes. Not to get fit, to remind your nervous system that you are not frozen. A short walk, stretching. Anything that tells your brain, we are alive, we are moving. Fourth, send one honest message. To yourself, to a friend, to someone you've been avoiding. Not dramatic, just real. "I've been in my head lately." That's enough. Fifth, choose one tiny boundary today. One thing you usually say yes to that drains you, and say no, or not today. Then notice how it feels. Sixth, remove one small piece of friction between you and what matters. If you want to read, put the book on your pillow. If you want to write, open the document before bed. Make the good choice easier. Seventh, end your day with a 2-line review. 1 line, what gave me energy today? 1 line, what drained it? Don't analyze, just notice. 7 small acts, not to fix your life, to prove to yourself that you're not powerless. Because here's the deepest reason people feel stuck. They don't trust themselves anymore. They've made promises they didn't keep, started things they didn't finish, listened to everyone else more than themselves. So they hesitate. Why start if you might quit again? But self-trust isn't built by grand transformations. It's built by keeping tiny promises, over and over. Another hard truth. Sometimes you're stuck because you're trying to skip grief. Grief for the life you thought you'd have. Grief for time that passed. Grief for choices you can't undo. If you don't let yourself feel that, it hardens into heaviness. And heaviness looks like laziness. But it's not. It's sadness with nowhere to go. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to listen. You need to stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What happened to me? What did I want that I didn't say out loud? What did I outgrow but stay loyal to?" What did I survive that made me smaller? Your stuckness is trying to tell you something, and it's not an insult. It's an invitation. You're not meant to live on autopilot. You're not meant to disappear into distraction. You're not meant to shrink to fit a life that no longer fits you. And no, it won't be easy. But it will be honest, and honest lives feel lighter, even when they're hard. So if you're watching this and thinking, this is me, I want you to know something. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not too late. You're just at the moment where your old way of living can't carry you anymore. And that's not a failure. That's a threshold. If this resonated, comment the phrase, I'm not stuck, I'm listening. Write it for yourself, not for me. And if you want to go deeper, the next video will be about how to rebuild self-trust after years of doubting yourself. It might change how you see your past. And if you want to stay here, I'd be glad to have you. You can subscribe quietly if these conversations help you feel less alone.